and really important to my present work. And then I made my way to Boston University for my master's, and it was intense. It was really intense. So much so that when I was, I guess, halfway through my first year, we unfortunately found that I had a tumor or something at the top of my spine, base of my brain. And I ended up at Mass General with a neurosurgeon. And he says, well, we don't know everything about it, but we have this new thing. It's called an MRI. And so I was in the first study for MRIs, and, I ended up being fine. They followed it for 5 years. But my point really there is that it was so intense that my professor offered, if I wanted, I could drop half my classes. So intense. I said, no, I can't do this for another year. I'm going to have to fit in doctor's appointments and scans and find out if I have cancer, but I'm not back. I have to finish this program this May. I can't do this anymore. And the reason that I also find that so important into my story is because my first job, I was, the business was located in Northern Virginia, very close to DC, but I was placed in a rural satellite office. And I showed up to my sister's door and I was in tears because while there was healthcare there, it wasn't what I had learned when I was in Boston. And I was so afraid. That was such an intense 2 years. And I thought I'm going to forget everything I ever learned. She had never seen me like that. I was a wreck. Fortunately, she gave me great advice. She said, why don't you go this week and see if there's anything you can do for them? 75% of my time is with children in the school system. And then some was with home care and some was with nursing homes. And just like shifting gears and getting a kinesiology degree before my master's, having this experience was incredibly important because she was right. What I did was that whole first year, I was up till 2 a.m. every night writing programs for the kids, for their teachers, for their family, writing programs for home care. I feel like that, if you diet twice a week, you just don't lose weight, right? So physical therapy wise, if you're going to change things, you really need something you're going to do every day. And that experience really catapulted me into really caring about each patient. So now I'm a kinesiologist, a physical therapist. I care about each patient. I returned home to Annapolis, to a great medical center. I kind of was able to really solidify my knowledge for the years that I worked in acute care. And then I decided I wanted to go out and work on the reservation. I'd always kind of had an interest in that. They flew me to South Dakota. I went into a hospital, brand new, 4 years old, completely empty physical therapy unit. No one had ever been there. There was going to be no physical therapist. I was going to be the only physical therapist for several states. Yeah. Lots of tribes. And I didn't want to become part of Indian Health. I said, I just want to be a civilian.
People, yes.
Yeah. And I asked for only $18,000 a year. I just wanted to fly home for Christmas, and they couldn't find the money. So I didn't get to do that. But the people that supported me during that time was the traveling physical therapy groups, right? They would find me a job in Utah or Arizona while I was trying to negotiate this situation. When it didn't work, I worked for them a few more times. I returned to Annapolis. My mom wasn't well. I continued to work as kind of a temporary person. And I found myself at one point where I had worked in 6 states and 40 facilities. And I decided...
No, I was going to say it's so intense how you describe it. And I was just going for our viewers. Can we just step back? It's just my heart is basically pumping and palpitating right now. Can I just step back for a minute and ask you, when it was so, first MRI and they told you that you could not do and you have to study and so overwhelmed, what motivated you? How did you reset your mind? Like you said, I gotta move forward. I'm not going to quit. Doctors tell me quit. What exactly reset your mind at that point?
Oh, that's a great question. I think because my goal had always been to be a physical therapist. Like saying I wasn't going to do this school anymore wasn't an option. But it wasn't an option to spend another year. It was unbelievably intense. So I think that my goal, and then the support. You know, we had a great class. My peers were amazing, and they were very helpful. Like if we had a group meeting, and I had a doctor's appointment, they're like, "Fine, we got you. You know, go to your." So I think it was really that. It was my desire and my support.
Yeah,
And
personal strength and support peers, right? There were a lot of peers. And is anything else, maybe environment wise or additional, you know, geographical location, or maybe other things that inspire, motivated you at this moment?
well, that's interesting. Yes, one of our professors was actually a doctor from Harvard. They had borrowed him for this particular class, and I called him because one of the things he said was that first sign for a certain stroke in your brainstem was for one of his patients was itching on their nose. Well, I woke up in the middle of the night one night and I had a really itchy tip of my nose, and I knew I had this problem,
Mhm.
and I couldn't. I set my alarm so that it'd be going off when my roommate got up, because if something that's terrible, but if something happened to me in the middle of the night, I wanted her to wake up and come into my room and, you know, find my alarm going off. I called him first thing in the morning, and he was great. He said, "You are going to be okay." You know,
Interesting.
it was right before Christmas break. He said, "Go home, enjoy your Christmas. I've got the guy for you." It was Dr. Ojiman at Mass General. And he said, "I'm going to make an appointment myself for you and come back and see him. He will sort you out."
Mhm.
So it was basically, you know, it was the environment, but it was um, being fortunate enough to have met this teacher and him being receptive. My reaching out for help, I reached out, and he responded so well.
So it's important when we listen to each other. So it's not only one way, it's a conversation. So we have this communication, and I guess that's what makes you excellent, you know, physical therapist, and the things that you do, because you listen, you do, you follow, you take advice, you have peers. And this is just so inspirational and so helpful, Cathy. And I would like to ask you, what are the major 3 tips you would give our audience? You know, right now there's so much information, and you told them, I cannot even imagine how you know, did day to day, and you have to eat and sleep and think and work and study and all of it all together. What are 3 tips you would share with our audience?
I think the most important thing for people in pain is to actually learn about their pain. You
Mhm.
know, what I find is when I first, if I don't talk to somebody ahead of time and have them list their pain out, when they come for the evaluation, they'll go, I don't know. It's random. It comes and goes. I don't know why. And so the first thing, the biggest tip would be, well, all 3 would be learn about your pain. So first, list every symptom you have. Second, there's a very specific way I have people track their pain. I have them make a pain tracking form so that they have the time of day, a column for activity, and then every one of their symptoms gets its own column. And then they track it. And then at a glance, they have a lot of information about their pain in measurable terms. And then third tip would be to take that to their healthcare provider, because their story matters. The pain you're having, whether the position you're in, if you have mechanical pain, I'm digressing a little bit, but you know, people who have heart disease or a heart attack or have pain, people have cancer have pain. When you have mechanical pain, back or neck, the position that you are in when the pain comes on is a lot of information.
Yeah.
So tracking the pain and identifying the positions and taking that to your healthcare provider, those would be my 3 tips.
Thank you, Cathy. Track your pain, identify the position, follow your body, and take to your provider. Thank you very much, Cathy. It has been pleasure, and we learned so much. And I would love to have you back, and maybe we can
Yes.
do a conversation and learn more from the audience. And if you would please stay, and I'm going to invite other guests, and then we all meet at the top of the hour. So we would love to have a panel together.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. I'd love to join.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was Cathy. And with that, we have our next special guest, Jennifer Tosian. Jennifer, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's my pleasure to introduce you. And I learned so much about you. And please tell us full name, where are you located, and some of the story that inspirational, but also educational.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Lamilla, for having me here on your amazing broadcast. This is such an incredible opportunity. So yes, my name is Jennifer Tosian. I'm America's Mindset Muse and the creator of the holistic healing tool called Subliminal Vision Boards app. And you know, right now, today is a time when you really need to think about your mindset. You really need to find that, to acknowledge what you're thinking. And not only what you're thinking, but why are you thinking that, right? Because over the years of just life experience and research myself, what I learned is that we have two very parts of our brain, and one of them is the conscious mind, which is where we consciously choose something to take an action or to have a desire. But the other part of our brain is the subconscious part of our brain, and the subconscious controls and runs 95 to 98% of everything that we do, the way we think, how we feel about ourselves, and how we feel about the world around us. So when I learned about tapping into the subconscious and realizing the power of that part of our brain, what I learned was that it's not something that is happening right now. What it is it's limited negative belief patterns and thoughts and actions and behaviors that we picked up as a child. So it's that old adage, Lamilla, that when we're younger, we soak everything up that we can, right? Our minds are like a sponge. And that really is true. We're soaking up our parents' beliefs. We're soaking up what they feel about money, about love, about security. We watch how our mom feels about self-love and self-care and self-worth. And so what we end up doing is that we are walking around as adults with 5-year-old subliminal ideas and thoughts and patterns that are no longer serving us.
So I'm sorry, Jennifer, so you're saying that I'm walking right now with my 5-year-old brain and looking for tips.
Yes. So unless you're using some kind of tool to uninstall those old beliefs and patterns that are no longer in alignment with your conscious desire, then very soon, no matter what you want to start doing, whether it's releasing weight or in your case in a health industry, a lot of patients that are becoming ill or with cancer, what happens is that you have to really understand what your mindset is once you come to a point in your life. And so if we can hold on to a good mindset, a positive mindset, focusing on health and joy and positivity and gratitude. Gratitude is love in action. So one of my, as a coach, a mindset coach, I recommend my clients to create a subliminal vision board, gratitude board. You know, vision boards have this old connotation that we have to use them for materialistic things. And it's fine, you can do that. However, what we really want to be focusing on more than ever right now is our internal state. Right? Mm-hmm. How are we feeling? What do we want our bodies to feel like, to look like? How do we want to wake up in the morning, right? So starting a morning routine and creating a subliminal vision board on that morning routine. So you can add images, affirmations. This app is an incredible tool that allows you to record your voice. So you can then hear yourself saying, you know, I'm amazing, I'm powerful, I'm happy, I'm healthy. You know, what we say to ourselves, our bodies are listening. And what we tell ourselves is what we believe the most. So now is a time for us to really harness the power of visualization. Because unless you are visualizing a better, brighter, happier future, then what you're going to end up doing is you're going to be focusing on now. And the thing is that if you continue to stay in the present thoughts and the feelings that you've always felt and the thoughts you've always thought, what happens then is your actions are going to be the same. The habits will stay the same, and then your results will stay the same. And what I'm here to say is that you have so much power to choose a different path for yourself, to create new neural pathways in your brain with the Subliminal Vision Boards app that will allow you to think a new story, to feel new feelings, to start taking different action. And when you start doing that, what happens is that your subconscious starts becoming in alignment with your conscious desires. And when that happens, whenever you want to start any kind of a new thing in your life, creating it actually reduces the physiological and the psychological fear response when we start something new. So when you tap into that power of creation, which is what you do with Subliminal Vision Boards, you create unlimited vision boards in different areas of your life that you want to feel better in, that you want to experience something more in. And repetition is key because the mind works with repetition. And so the more that you stay consistent, the more you're going to start creating those new neural pathways. You're going to tell yourself your inner critic is going to shift. And so what happens first, Camilla, is that your vibration shifts. And when you start shifting your vibration, then everything shifts in response to that. And more than ever right now, we all need to be focusing on positivity, health, happiness, joy, gratitude. And when we do that, it's going to actually raise our immune system and raise our vibration and allow circumstances and people and situations to come into our life.
Yeah, I think it's a very important connection, because how you describe about pictures and vibration and connection and positivity, and this is so helpful, and I really enjoy, and I'm trying to connect everything and bring all pathophysiology, and I probably have to go and read a little bit more after I discuss with you, because it's been a long time since I study all of it. And with that, we have some audience that probably not everyone has access to app. Can you give us 3 tips what the person can do, maybe draw things or something, 3 things that we can do without using app, but think of you and think what you discuss and combine all together? Can person, if my phone broke, can I still do something different, maybe draw or think or...
Absolutely. So mindset is really about going within. And there's many different ways that you can do that. You can scribe, you can journal. The main thing is, the number 1 tip, I believe, would be to get clarity on your desires, to know what it is that you want without any resistance and without any judgment. So understanding that there's that subliminal part in our brains that is running the show. And the main thing is to start doing something consistently, like starting a morning routine that feels healthy, that has no resistance. Because once you start becoming in alignment with your best self, with feeling better, without going out in nature, walking, that type of thing, your mindset is going to shift. But that consistency is the number 1 thing. And then the third thing is I would say to just allow your desires to be your roadmap, right? To really allow your desires and your goals to run the show, and to really take little steps. It doesn't have to be big steps to really go crazy on something, because sometimes that can scare us more. But it's the little steps in the right direction that makes all the difference in the world. And with Subliminal Vision Boards, you can carry your visions with you in these times of need, just to give you that pickup and to give you that chance to kind of reset your mindset again.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jennifer. And I would love for you to come back and actually talk a little bit longer on the Doctor Connect movement and see if we can learn even more. And I really enjoy. And if you please stay at the top of the hour and we'll have an all panel discussion. And with that, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, love.
That was Jennifer Tosian. And with that, we have our very special next guest. And I would like to introduce Dr. Kimberly Wilson. Yes, welcome, Dr. Kimberly. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Such a pleasure to have you. We are speaking about mindset and reset and so many positive advices. Can you please tell us, we start from first name, where are you located, and give us like some story and some tips.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Ludmila Schaefer. I appreciate the offer to come share with you all today. So I am I'm originally from Detroit. Currently, I am in Fort Mill, South Carolina. And I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and an international psychologist. And I'm so glad you invited me to tell a story, because Jennifer just gave so many wonderful tips just now, and I was hoping that I wouldn't repeat, but I'd like to share this story that kind of crystallizes for people the power of your mind and the way that you think. So if you allow me to do so, I got a quick little story.
Yes, please. Yes, we all can't wait. Actually, I'm even repositioning myself. Yes.
So imagine, I'm going to use a story that's really relatable. Imagine that you're going to a drive-through. So I go through the drive-through to get some fast food. I pay the teller. I buy $10 worth of food. I give them a $20 bill. The teller walks away. I begin to think, does she think I'm stupid? She kept my $10. I'm going to I'm going to talk to the manager. I'm going to have that lady fired because she stole from me. Okay, that's situation A. Situation B, still going through the drive-through. I order $10 worth of food. I give her $20. The cashier walks away and I think, oh man, it's really busy in there. You know what? She's probably not paying attention. So I'm patient and I'm understanding, right? Situation C. I go through the drive-through again. I order $10 worth of food. I give them a $20 bill. I don't get my money back. And I say, oh, look at her. I bet she looks like she hasn't eaten in a while. She probably has kids to take care of. You know what? I'm just going to let her keep that money as a blessing. So that in that way, I'm empathetic and I'm caring. So we can see through that story that the facts of the story didn't change one iota. What changed was the way that I thought about the situation, and that dictated my emotions and it dictated my actions. And when I tell that story, people seem to really get it and understand the power of the mind, because it's such a common example. And so you've probably seen people do that, overreact in situations in that way.
Yeah, a lot of times, we sort of have our own perception, and someone says, and I think, why this person approached me like this? Why, speaks to me like this? What's happening? And I think it's probably, I have to work on myself and reset my own mind, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that dictates our perception, dictates our reality and our experience. So often, what I find in a lot of people, when I begin to work with them and we begin to tease out why they think that way or why they're responding in certain ways, it begins to open up their perception of like, wow, there's a different way to respond. I can feel a different way. Even though I have this circumstance, I can change the way I move through this circumstance. I can change the way that I move through this reality. And please.
No, I was going to ask, how did you actually decide to do this? Did you come to conclusion it was an experience, or am I supposed to just wake up in the morning and listen Dr. Kimberly Wilson. Well, actually, right now, I will be thinking of you every time in this situation. But how do I reset my mind? How do I click to this point?
Right. Well, and Jennifer gave some really, really good tips. But one of the things that I suggest is always starting with a vision, right?
Vision.
So when you have a vision, you know where you're going, you know what direction. So if I'm going out of town, I absolutely I'm going to use GPS. I'm going to use a map because that tells me how to get there. And when you want to change a circumstance in your life, have a clear vision of where you want to go, what you want to have, and then you walk backwards from that new reality to determine what are the steps I need to take to change my current circumstances. And that's one of the ways that you can very easily begin to change that. Also, controlling your fear of failure. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people stay in the same mindset because they fear failing. They don't want to try. It feels much better to have that delayed gratification and just say, well, I didn't have time to do it, or I wasn't able to do it, rather than the risk, rejection, or failure. And we have to reframe that as an opportunity. I love telling the story about how Edison tried, over 1,000 times, and he got it wrong until he got the light bulb. So he got it wrong 999 times, but that 1,000th time, we have the light bulb. So looking at failure as an opportunity, okay, that I learned something new. That doesn't work. What can I do differently?
Yeah, I really enjoy. I just would like to reemphasize for our audience how you said we walk backward and we learn from failure. I think this is so powerful and so strong because we all think, okay, it's going to get better, and we are, but that really reset the mind, walk backward. Yes, please continue, Dr. Kimberly.
Yes. And one of the third thing that I think is really powerful to help reset your mind is to monitor your input. And let me expand on that. So we are beings who are just soaking up information from all sources, whether it's music, whether it's the people around us, our family, our friends, just all of these experiences. They tell us things about ourselves. So if you constantly surround yourself with negative messages or people who are downing you or who have a poverty state of mind that things can't get any better, why would you try this? I think you told the own story about how people said you could never do things because you had an accent. So if you continue to listen to those without creating new pathways, new messages, that becomes your reality because it's being constantly reinforced, all of those negative messages. So you have to be very intentional about creating your new reality. So I often suggest to clients to use something very, very basic because most of us have, and I'm trying to grab an empty one. Most of us have these laying around, Post-it notes. They are the best things since sliced bread. And so I ask them to create new messages for themselves, to rewrite their story and put them strategically in different places in their home or even in their car, or even carry a card with them and read that. Every time you come across it, read it, create a new reality, change your mind, change the way you think about a situation or a circumstance, and then that becomes your reality.
Yeah, this is very powerful because if I was told it's never good enough, how am I going to come out of situation? If someone surrounded people that tells, no, this is not enough, maybe grade not too high, maybe position, maybe this, maybe salary, maybe clean dishes, whatever it is, how do you actually unclick and unleash from this situation? So by making those notes and by making the positive messages, did I understand correctly?
Yes, those positive affirmations and new messages.
Excellent.
You begin to create those new neural pathways, new thoughts about your reality and your circumstances, and then you begin to act on those. You begin to, one of the most beautiful things I saw is a client who went from feeling that she was ugly and unwanted to actually loving herself and her body. And it was so rewarding.
This is very powerful. And also, I would like to ask you, Dr. Kimberly, and it kind of also close to my heart, what actually made you to do what you are doing? You know, you are helping so many people, you are creating, and so many audience listening to you. And I wish everyone connect with you and with all our guests, because what actually made you to do what you are doing? It's hard. You not only have to motivate and have a positive input for other people, but how do you actually lift yourself up?
Well, I'm going to make it a short story. You asked why I got into this, and that I saw my mother going to therapy for 5 years and not having any significant change in the way she was feeling, in the way she walked and moved through her life. And it made me so angry that it motivated me to enter into this profession so that I could serve and help and not allow people to continue to flounder and not get any results. And what typically motivates me is that I love to challenge myself, and I love to reinvent, and I love to recreate. And, you know, Jennifer was talking about a vision board. I've got my vision board right here, but it's not the app. It's actually a vision board. So what I suggest, I live that. It's not just meant for other people. I'm implementing it in my life. So I challenge myself frequently and create new realities because I want to be sure that I am giving helpful and useful tips.
Yes, and I'm learning from you. I have a tiny vision board, and I think I'm going to expand tonight. Thank you so much, Dr. Kimberly. I wish you would join us later for more conversation, as well as if you please wait, and we will have a panel at the top of the hour. And with that, everyone, please connect with Dr. Kimberly Wilson. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, I would like to ask our next guest and welcome the Richele Green. Richele, welcome, welcome, welcome. It has been a while since we communicated, and it's my pleasure to have you here. And thank you for your time, and all guests. It's just, I'm learning so much. Please tell us your full name, where you're located, and a story behind what you do.
Well, thank you, Doctor, for having this forum and for bringing together these rock stars tonight. I'm loving this conversation, right up my alley. My name is Richele Green. I am the CEO of Richele Insurance Girl. I am America's healthcare spending advocate. I'm a licensed health insurance advisor in 27 states. And I love to create platforms to help people build and expand the visibility of their businesses. So what brought me here? I've really answered to a calling over the last couple of years, Doctor. I really have. I spent over 20 years managing medical and dental practices. So it's a very organic transition to step into the place of helping people plan for their health care through their health plans and navigating all those options. But I've always been that advocate in the way, been that person in the room, unfortunately, when people would receive those scary diagnosis, a lot of uncertainty, and helping them navigate. And then really just advocating, going to bat for them with the insurance companies and making sure that we're seeing them through and getting them that proper care. So, I felt like I had a really good handle on this. I know you see this a lot. Really, most Americans are one medical crisis away from absolute financial devastation. Unfortunately, there's so many gaps in this healthcare system. And I know you're out, serving and helping people with, such devastating times of diagnosis, right? So, and transitioning into a sales agent was pretty organic. And I've really, gone to bat for my clients. And I want to make sure we're bridging that gap between our health and our wealth. But I'll be honest, it wasn't until the very tragic loss of my own sister back in 2019 and the really lengthy battle with cancer that she suffered as someone uninsured. So I really saw what was at stake there. And I've seen somebody, and I'm sure you've seen it too. And I know you're serving that community in such a big way, treating patients. And unfortunately, someone that's uninsured just doesn't have as many options. And if we're sick and we can't work, a lot of folks are just a couple paychecks away from being homeless. So unfortunately, watching her struggle through not just the physical devastation of a lengthy battle with cancer, breast cancer, and if something could have gone wrong, we certainly saw that, but just the emotional toll and the financial fallout that so many folks have. So in stepping into this new space of advocate and healthcare spending advocate, I just have a sense of responsibility, a sense of urgency with a pretty incomparable type of expertise in this market, being able to decode the healthcare market. So want to make sure we're protecting our health and our wealth and just preparing for time in crisis. There's so much at stake.
Yes, Richele, this is true. And that's why I invited you. It is a very special way why I invited all guests with this particular reason, because we are looking at the ways how we do affirmation, how we create visual board, how we work through the pain, and everyone mentioned, but with all of it, it's just completely different aspect. And navigate through healthcare system, it's not only very difficult, and it's very daunting, it's very expensive. And how you be advocate, that's why we would like to hear your point of view and what audience, what we community, what all of us can do today, and work with you together and look up to you and see how we can work together.
Well, I'm just here to serve. Truly, truly. I advocate for people in all 50 states. I've helped hundreds of people just navigate what's out there. And it's just not as simple as we wish it were. A lot of us have never had to navigate a healthcare plan. A lot of us have been fortunate enough to have employer plans. But, during this time, it's been unprecedented. Over 50 million Americans have lost those employer plans and are having to navigate this healthcare market. And if you make the wrong choice, God forbid somebody ends up in a health plan without pre-existing coverage. God forbid someone doesn't understand how their health plan works and ends up $10,000, $20,000 out of pocket. That could break the bank for a lot of folks. It really could. So I like to have a bigger stage and a bigger platform just to spread some awareness. Just simple 1, 2, 3. How do we pick a health plan without risking bankruptcy? And there's just a simple formulas that I like to put out there, bringing lots of value. And basically, if you are, in that market, there's so much at stake. We don't want to, I would say we get FOMO, right? We get FOMO, we get FOMO, fear of messing up when we're choosing these things. We've never had to before, and it's complicated. The good thing, Doctor, is the recent legislation. I don't see this as a sustainable, system, but the recent legislation has expanded subsidies to higher income levels, and people are seeing lower premiums because of this recent administration and the recent push, at least through this year. What we do know, though, unfortunately, is healthcare costs are going up 6.5% going into 2022. And unfortunately, the subsidies are expanded, but those health plans aren't. And there's really not a lot of conversation about controlling those, just enormous healthcare costs.
And if I'm having a problem today, how do I reach out? Honestly, a lot of people, they don't even know where to call, what to do. And the same example, like even as simple as screening for cancer, and I'm speaking about my field, and I'm sure there are other, what do I do right now? How do I go through Yellow Pages? Do I Google?
I'll tell you, if you go online, unfortunately, you'll be inundated with calls from sales agents. Most of them have access to 1 or 2 things. I choose to act as an advisor, as that advocate, just to make sure, because you can get into the wrong health plan and not have that coverage for wellness. You can get into the wrong health plan, not have that catastrophic And, I'll tell you a story. I had a client, his client now, but a few years back, we just can't see what's around the corner, right? We just can't see. We want to prepare for that crisis. And he was about 50 years old when he suffered a stroke. And it was a pretty serious stroke. He went into the hospital. Unfortunately, things can go south in the hospital too, because a few days later, he developed septic, had a massive heart attack right there in the hospital bed, and ended up with open heart surgery a few days later, just all in about 5 days. My friend Jerry spent 28 days in the hospital in this situation, and it was a $4.5 million hospital bill. So if you've never seen that before, it's hard to comprehend, right? His employer plan, usually in the past, that was a good place to be. It's not always. There's not those safeguards anymore. But he ended up being billed for over $200,000 from that hospital stay. So, being able to get ahead of those things and plan for that freedom, I like to look at the big picture too, because I think of my sister. It's one thing to think about the doctors and the hospitals getting paid, right, if something happens. But what if we are not well and we can't work and keep the money coming in, keep the mortgage paid, keep the tuition paid, keep the business going? Mm-hmm. So there is a place to plan for income replacement, for self-employed individuals, for accidents, to bring that income in and replace it so those hardships don't come. And when I speak about freedom in the time of crisis, it has everything to do with not just being able to keep afloat, also being able to have that freedom to choose your providers. That's sometimes a luxury for a lot of individuals, to choose your outcomes, to have some lump sum benefits or something if you want to go seek some holistic care or experimental care, things that insurance doesn't cover, gives us that freedom, right?
Yeah. It is very, very important, valuable point. And I wish all audience, actually advise all audience connect with you, because we need to hear this and we need to hear the statistics and your advice. And my also sincere sympathy what you share about your mom and your family and so many things. It's a tragedy. But with all, your conversation and your education and all statistics and advice is just so powerful. And that's why I brought the whole panel all board. And I wish you would stay just a little bit up of the hour. We have one guest and Darcy, and then if we can all get together, and I really would like sort of combine and sit all of us at the same table. So thank you so much. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. And I give complimentary healthcare checkups. That's where we do this over the phone. We don't take our clothes off, and it's complimentary. Richele Insurance Girl on all the platforms or Google.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Richele. Thank you. We'll see you soon, just in a few minutes. And with that, I would like to invite our special guest, Darcy Fenoglio. Darcy, welcome. I've been so much waiting to connect with you and communicate and hear your story and so many things. Please, Darcy, tell us your full name, where are you located, and a little bit of your story. I know it's a lot on your heart, and we probably won't be able to tell within a few minutes, but I really would like for our audience to connect with you.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Schaefer, for having me. And this panel has been amazing. I'm backstage just listening and in awe of every single person. It is such a blessing to be here. So thank you again. I'm Darcy Fenoglio, and I live in Chicago. I'm a wife and mom of twin sons. And my company is all about wearable nutrition and helping families and babies to great grandparents and everybody in between just get the nutrition that they are missing in their bodies. And I share a whole new way to do that with wearable nutrition. I myself have been, I've had migraines since I was little from an accident that I had early on with gymnastics. And I've been suffering from RA for almost 18 years now. And with the different medications and so forth that I was on, I was actually getting letters to my home from the manufacturer of some of the medications that I was on, saying that I had been on it too long and I really just didn't know where to turn. So it was amazing and divine intervention that I was given this pleasure of being able to know about this wearable nutrition. It's a tiny little 1 inch by 1 inch all natural patch that you just put on your skin, and it gets all the vitamins and nutrients directly into your bloodstream. There's no latex, no synthetics. It's biodegradable, plant-based polymer adhesive. And so I was all in at patch.
Yes. Well, yes, patch works. It's very interesting because everything we try to prescribe by mouth, or I do intravenous. Yes. And how did you, I know you mentioned about rheumatoid arthritis, and I'm very sorry and my sincere sympathy. And also, you know, it's a lot of being mind reset and how you've done things, and what actually made you sort of change your mind and, you know, control symptoms and motivate yourself.
Well, I've always been a really big advocate of it. Everything starts in the kitchen. So fruits and vegetables and just healthy eating habits are so key for so many different ailments that people suffer with. And I know that it's really hard to have a regimen like that every single day, but the exercise and sleep, those are my 3 go-tos, and those are 3 things that I do every single day. And so that has helped me stay on the lowest doses of any type of medications that I was on prior. And so with my doctor's help, I was able to seamlessly wean myself off of all of my medications, because he is on board with all of our patches and so forth as well, because he loves nutrition and any type of vitamin supplements that are all natural. So.
And I think it's very important because it's a message to everyone. We do know that vast majority of Americans, actually, they hide from doctors exactly what other alternative medicine they take, what herbs, supplements, and so on. And I strongly urge all healthcare providers to be open conversation with the patients. So then, you know, don't have to sort of hide at home and, you know, take, and we would not know, and work this partnership. And I really like how you admire, you work a partnership. I think it's listen to each other. And also, Darcy, I would like to ask you, what does anyone actually did play a role in your life, or maybe environment? I think I asked this question earlier also, Dr. Kimberly. Is anything actually or someone influence on you?
Yes, absolutely. I can say all day that not having any type of medications and being able to use the wearable nutrition and getting all of the supplements out of my digestive system and in through your biggest organ, which is the skin. But my dad is my reason why I get up every single day and share with so many different people. In November of 2019, he actually was in the hospital on Thanksgiving Day, and he was told by the doctor that he should go on hospice. And we talked with the hospice people and so forth, and we actually decided not to do that as a family and see how he did through Christmas and New Year's and so forth. And he actually did fairly well through Christmas and New Year's, and he made it to the launch of the company. And that was actually, it hasn't been too long. When the whole world was shutting down, we actually launched the company. And so he made it to the launch, and I took all of the supplements out of his digestive system, and I use the same 3 patches that I use every single day for my RA and my migraines. And I'm not making any claims. It's the only thing that he changed and the only thing that I did. And he is still here to this day and doing amazing. He made it to the year of being told that he was going to be put on hospice. He takes his medications directly into his digestive system, but putting everything on the skin, it was like Miracle Grow in his body. It was amazing. And I could have never anticipated the quality of life that he got compared to the quantity of life that he still was having. So to give him back, is such a blessing. So
it is, and it is really inspirational and very important what you just share. And I know it's very, vulnerable, and you speak about your dad, but also excited that the way he was able to manage. And there was also reason why, I brought all guests together because, through nutrition, through vision board, pain, there, motivation, there are so many other things that we try to reset our mind. And I think we have to remember to do this all together and learn, because a lot of people, maybe either not able to afford, we just discuss that it's not possible, it's just too expensive, or it's too much toxicity. So this is very, very powerful. Thank you so much, Darcy, and I would love to have you back here and continue conversation and learn. I always tell it's not just inspirational, it's actually advice. And we bring together between the science and community, and we unite, and that's the whole purpose for all of us being. So thank you so much, Darcy. Thank you.
Thank you. It was such a blessing to be here. Thank you so much.
And with that, I'm going to bring all guests, if you would please stay with us, and we would like to have a panel. Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so blessed to have all of you. Thank you. It has been an unbelievable experience, and for your time and your passion and how we all united and seeing everyone here, it's just so inspirational. I think how much I learned from each of you. And I'm very, very serious. Even from the previous interviews, I finish and I don't just speak. I actually go and I implement. So I would like to see how we all here now together. And I would like to give each of you about 60 seconds. If you please share sort of the last tip with our audience, so then we look not only at the vision and finances and from the pain standpoint and nutrition, all of it. Can you please share with us? And we start with Richele.
Thank you. I love it. I love this question. I think just to go along and to add to the very rich conversation and tips that you've gotten from these experts this evening, really to know thyself, to really understand our own personal values, really to understand ourselves, because what I'm learning in this journey is when I step away from my values, whether it's in business or in relationships, I go into a place of pain. So whenever I go back toward that, and my values, my personal values are in my mission statement, and that is I am meant to bring light and love. I am meant to engage, embrace, empower, and expand the lives of those around me. So in finding and understanding who I am, it makes it real clear when I'm taking on new endeavors, when I'm starting new businesses, when I'm going into new partnerships, because I know those values. I know that at my core, I'm never going to be able to be in a place of comfort if I'm too far away from those. Yeah. So I hope that adds to that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kimberly.
I had to unmute myself. Yes, if I had to give one tip, I guess that would be to remember that your current situation doesn't dictate your destination, that it's your mind and your heart and your activities that dictate where you go and how you experience your life.
Thank you. Yeah, situation and destination. I think I'll be sleeping and thinking of this tonight. Thank you so much. Jennifer, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you, doctor. Wonderful tips. I would just say, kind of piggybacking on Richele as well, is that we have to know our worth, our self-worth. And when we are putting our mindset as a priority, and we put our goals and our dreams and our joys in the front burner, what that's going to do is it really creates a ripple effect out into the world. It allows you to get into an alignment with your best self. And at the same time, it creates a ripple effect through your family, through your business, and ultimately through the planet. And so that's probably one of my biggest goals, and my purpose and passion is to really teach everyone that you hold the power within you to change any situation, any feeling, any thought that you have. And the first part is to really acknowledge, one, that you have it, and two, understand that just through a shift in your mindset, a shift in your thoughts, you can then create a new reality.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Cathy, please tell us.
I love piggybacking on that because since I'm a physical therapist and my world is orthopedic pain, I think that when even Dr. Wilson was saying, reframe how you look at things. In most pain, if you had cancer, the pain you would realize was just the alarm to let you know you had a problem. Right. But your patients don't show up to have you make your pain go away. They show up to have you say, hey, what's happening? Why am I having this pain? The problem with back pain, orthopedic pain is, as it's well accepted, is the cause is unknown. I think that people need to reframe things, because what happens in orthopedic pain is all you try and do is make the symptom go away. You just make the pain go away, and the problem persists. Like the cancer persists. And so I think people with orthopedic pain need to reframe, as Dr. Wilson was saying, and then as some of the comments that all the other panels members made, is that well, first I had said really track your pain, and then with everybody else said is you really need to pursue things like you the position that you are in when that pain comes on will give your healthcare provider an idea of mechanically what's going on, and keep after that. Don't just make the pain go away. Put people to the wall and have them figure out what your problem is. Don't just make the pain go away. Make the problem go away.
Thank you. Thank you. Not just make the pain go away, but the problem. Thank you so much. And Darcy, yes, please, we have, another 60 seconds.
Yes, absolutely. I would say never give up hope. Be so hopeful. And whenever you think that there is something out there, just like we never thought that there would be anything else other than supplements through the digestive system. And here is a brand new way for people with sensory issues, people with disabilities and different things that they are not able to swallow any of their supplements. Now they have a whole new, better way to do that. So stay hopeful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's been such an amazing evening. And I'm so blessed. And thank you so much for joining. And thank you all audience for being with us on the Dr. Connect show. Please join and subscribe our YouTube channel and comment. And we would love to have you on our show. And we are super excited to have you on this journey with us. Thank you for watching and listening. And we are looking forward to seeing you in the next one.